but not as you know it. I am your host, Jessie Phillips, and it's time to welcome today's guest. He is a former GB decathlete who is one of Britain's best, being ranked third in the country, an elite athlete who is also a serving soldier in the British Army. And if that is not enough for you, he's also Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt, stunt double, and has also doubled for American actor Samuel L. Jackson. Welcoming Jahmal Germain!
Oh, wow. Thank you for such an amazing intro. Thank you.
Well, you put the hard work in to make it all happen, so I just had to do the reading, so it was very, very easy. How are you on lockdown?
I'm good. It's playing with my head mentally and physically at the moment. However, it's a good time for me to reflect and see where I want to actually put my energy. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's needed.
And as an ex-athlete and still someone who's physically fit, but how are you managing to keep fit? I mean, you're lifting up the sofa or something?
Pretty much. I'm lifting up the sofas. I'm lifting up cases of water in the house, the tables. Every time my sister goes by, she's screaming, "Ah!" because I lift her up all the time. So yeah, I think she kind of don't actually come out the room now when she knows I'm in the living room. She stays in her room.
And so tell us about your athletics career. You know, you're one of Britain's best. Which came first, your athletics career or the British Army?
The British Army came first because it was something I always wanted to aspire to as a kid. Looking over the hills into the valleys and seeing the soldiers training and in their daily routine and seeing the respect that they used to get. I always wanted to become a soldier, so I pursued being a soldier first, and then over the time I then grew a love for athletics, which I then got into when I was given an ultimatum to either choose being in the army or running for England. So I took the opportunity of pursuing the opportunity to run for England.
I suppose it must have been a really tough decision. You know, you mentioned there about you used to see the soldiers around home, and your home is Montserrat, where you were born. But what was that like as a youngster, like seeing the respect that they commanded? I can't do the sloop, but what was it like for you seeing that as a kid?
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I was one of them kids that was always getting myself in trouble, you know, like always doing the most basically. So I love the fact that they were so disciplined, and obviously when they come around, people respected them. You always used to hear this thing, "Oh, women love guys in uniform." So it was just like, obviously as a kid, you kind of think, "Oh wow, like, yeah, definitely want to be a soldier," you know, like makes me look strong. But it's so funny because when I joined the army, I wanted to help people in suffering countries and all that kind of stuff, because that's one of the things that I genuinely admired about them. So yeah, that's why I joined the army. I joined the army because I wanted to help people, and I love the respect that they get, and I wanted to be more disciplined.
How challenging was the decision to kind of say, right, I'm going to focus on my career? Because it's my athletics career, because that must have been quite a tough decision. And kind of who was in your corner helping you make those decisions?
It was tough. However, like my mom always was that type of person that would say, if you love something or you want to achieve something, you put yourself in there and make it happen. Don't sit back and wait for it to happen. No one is going to hand your goals or your aspirations to you. You need to actually make that happen. So having my mom in my corner, my mom and dad in my corner, made me realize my why. And my why has always been to provide that financial freedom for them. So I would plead with anyone out there that's listening to me right now. I would say if you can just have a moment to sit down and think about why you're doing the things that you do, then 100%. And if your why is greater than yourself, then you will always find a reason to make it happen. And that's one of the key motivations that I've had over the years, is to know that the reason why I yield myself or push myself to get out of bed is to know that I want to provide that financial freedom for my mom. So yeah.
Oh, all the ladies listening and watching are going, "Oh, that's so sweet." And so you left the army, you joined GB Athletics. You went and did decathlon, the toughest of events. How and why did that happen? Because that is a choice not many people make.
Honestly, even looking back at it, I'm thinking like, why did I choose decathlon? But to be honest, I'm happy that I did when I did, because when I first initially started, I started as a 100 meters and 200 meter runner, and you'd be like, oh man, you run like Usain Bolt, but you're not as fast as Usain Bolt, but you got that little swing like he does. I was quickly spotted because obviously that little style of running that I had, so everyone quickly spotted me. I remember being spotted by the Tessa Sanderson Academy and Foundation as well. And then running for my club, Newham and Essex Beagles, we had championships where some of the athletes didn't turn up. So I was then given the opportunity to try out different events. I went to do the long jump, did my first jump, I jumped 6:39. And I was like, oh, that's good. I was like, actually, no, that's rubbish. I'll do that. I can do better. Not knowing I was already in first place. Did my second jump 6:41. I was like, a little bit better, but I was miles away behind the board. Yeah, I'm going to get you again. I'm going to definitely do better. And obviously I couldn't take my third jump because my favourite event, which was the 200 meter at the time, was about to go down. So I was like, okay, I left it, went to do my 200 meters. I remember coming off the bend and looking to my right, looking to my left, and there was no one there. And I was like, yes! Crossed the line. And I remember dropping to my knees and going, God, like, give me a clear sign that what I'm meant to be doing. A few minutes later, I got back to my seat. I was sitting down. And I remember receiving a call from Tessa Sanderson asking, have you ever thought about trying decathlon? And I was just like, yeah. It was weird because I was praying about it. That's why I found it so weird. And then she was like, oh, I got Daley Thompson on the phone here. He thinks you'll be a great decathlete. And I was just like, is this actually happening? Is this a joke or what? Like, hold on, what's going on? I was like, and she's like, yeah, like, yeah, come into the office, let's have a talk about it. Definitely, we think you should try out for the decathlon. And yeah, like, that's how I went about trying out for the decathlon. And Daley Thompson then gave me his coach, Greg Richards, started from there.
That's unbelievable. You've just finished a race. And I've got Tessa Sanderson, first of all, is on the phone. And then it's like Daley Thompson. I mean, I think you were just like, what? How?
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. It was one amazing experience I will never forget, 100%. And then obviously having Tessa Sanderson now took me on board on the Tessa Sanderson Academy and Foundation, and then got funding for me to travel to South Africa to train amongst some of the best athletes in the world, which Roman Chevrolet was there as well, which was a former world record holder for the decathlon as well. And to just be amongst all these amazing athletes was, it just inspired me so much to do better. And I remember coming back at the time, ranked, I think, in the country 878 to third in the UK, like for decathlon. I was just like, what just happened? So yeah, it was definitely an amazing accomplishment and an amazing feeling that I will never forget.
You mentioned obviously you're part of Tessa Sanderson's academy. You were part of Newham and Essex Beagles, and in previous episodes I've spoken to Emil Heskey, who of course is part of many football teams, and Natasha Jonas, the first woman to be and represent GB in the Olympics, who's also part of a club. So for young people listening and watching who are interested in athletics, for you, how important is it to be part of a club or organised sport?
It's definitely important to be part of a club. When you're a part of a club, obviously you can get into certain competitions and you get really great coaches around you. You get a real support network around you when you're part of a club as well. And yeah, you get people around you that will push you, motivate you, encourage you to always want to do better and like better your performances. And if you slack when you're in the club, obviously someone else that's coming to take your spot would go ahead of you. So it really keeps you on edge and makes you like perform better, so to say.
I suppose for a large part of your life, you've been a member of the club in one way or the other. Obviously, the British Army is quite a big club. So talk to me about your time. Who did you serve with and what are your memories of that?
It was an amazing experience being part of the Irish Guards soldiers that have been to Afghanistan. I have never been to Afghanistan. It would have been an experience I would have loved to undergo. However, I was then given an ultimatum to either run for England or be in the British Army. So I chose on running for England at the time. It was one of them things I will never forget. All the training that I did, and that goes back to what I said as well. There's this saying that teamwork makes the dream work, and I really do believe that, because obviously being in the army has shown me, obviously, if you have that really great support network around you, your achievements are endless. You can achieve so much more. And obviously when you're in part of a support network, you can achieve much more, because everyone is like basically bouncing off each other, learning different things from each other. So yeah, hence why I'll always advise anyone to try and maybe try and find a support unit, find a team, or whatever the case may be, and yeah, you can achieve much more.
And on the subject of team, a lot of your former teammates at Team GB will be in a very difficult place, I would imagine, with the postponement of the Olympics. Tokyo Olympics 2020 is now being postponed until 2021. I mean, what's the feeling from them? I mean, because how do you manage to get back for your peak almost a year after you're expecting to compete?
It's a bittersweet situation. And the reason why I say that, for athletes that have basically probably may have gotten the qualifying standard before, or even the ones that haven't had the qualifying standard, you now give them an opportunity to then get that qualifying standard. Or if they had an injury, they can now nurse that injury and get back in time for the actual Olympics. So in that aspect, it's good for them. There's athletes now, however, on the other hand, that is probably at the peak of their performance, ready to perform, and however, cannot perform. So for them, unfortunately, now they have to try and go back with their coaches back to the drawing board and find a way where they can actually utilize, where they can reduce some of the strain on their program at the moment, to then build it back up for the right time for 2021. But they give a lot more people an opportunity to then now step in. The younger generation that's coming through now as well, then gives them an opportunity as well to actually think, okay, right, like I've been given another year to make this dream become a reality. So yeah, 100%, let me do everything I can and not take it for granted.
How would someone like Dina Asher-Smith cope with this? Because from all intents and purposes, everyone was saying that, you know, this is going to be her year.
Dina Asher-Smith is a class of her own. Let's just say that. She's an absolute, yeah, like, honestly, like, she's definitely, oh man, like, yeah, she's a great athlete, an absolute phenomenal athlete. And if she hasn't been labelled as one of the GOATs yet, then I think definitely she needs to be labelled as one of the GOATs. So, yeah, for Dina Asher-Smith, I think she has nothing to worry about. I think she's in a stage in her life where she has the right network of people around her that would encourage her, and basically there's not much. I wouldn't, for me personally, if that was me and I had a program that worked, I wouldn't change anything about it. Maybe add a few tweaks here and there, but I wouldn't change anything. So I think the same performance, the same Dina Asher-Smith that we saw last year, we're going to see again, and I think even better.
And so moving from one greatest of all time to another, Mr. Usain Bolt, 8-time Olympic medalist. You have been his body and stunt double. How, where, why? Tell us.
I'm still, yeah. I can't find the words to describe. And looking back, where it all started in terms of like Tarzan, I was on set as one of the extras on Tarzan filming at Warner Brothers Studios, and I got approached by one of the directors saying, "Oh, how would you like to be Samuel Jackson's stunt double?" I was like, "Huh?" I was like, is this a joke? And I remember them going to me, oh no, he's stuntman, he's with Will Smith at the moment. Like, I would need someone to step in. And I was like, is this a joke or what? And they were like, no, we're being serious. Go down to wardrobe, try on this stuff. And I remember getting to wardrobe and I was like, oh yeah, such and such send me. And they were like, okay, yeah, try on this. Try it on this top, the same size. Try it on his trousers, same size. Try it on his shoes, same size. I was like, what is going on? This is a joke. It's somebody trying to play with my emotions or trying to clown me at the same time. I was thinking, no, this can't be. And then obviously they then pulled me into a room, asked me how much I wanted to be paid. And then I was like, okay, this is serious. This is actually serious. Gave me my own trailer on set, everything. I was like, okay, this is really serious.
Wow.
So yeah, like it was, absolutely amazing experience. And then after that, then I decided, okay, you know what? How can I pursue this more? I then went on to the British Stunt Registry to see how I can actually register to become a stuntman. So I started doing that, and I got myself an agent. And I remember when they reached out to me to say, oh yeah, Virgin wants you to step on board, and I was like, huh? I said, are you joking? Yeah, you're gonna body double for Usain Bolt. I was like, what? Really? I was like, no way. Yeah, so I then got the job. I remember the first job I got with Usain Bolt, it was just obviously just step on set, check the lighting, the camera, the heights, everything else. And then the second one, they were like, oh, can you do some wire work? And then the third one, oh yeah, can you do some more wire work? And then I was like, oh, this is becoming consistent. This is good. Yeah, so yeah, loved it.
The resemblance between you and Usain is uncanny. And obviously you kind of have a bit of a run like him, but what was he like? And are you guys actually the same size? Because you're how tall?
6'4.5". Like, yeah. Under half. But obviously when I see my chiropractor as well, I kind of feel like I get that little other half, to get that 6'5". However, he's 6'5", so yeah.
And Samuel L. Jackson, I didn't know he was tall.
Samuel L. Jackson's actually not that tall. I was very, very, very fortunate because Samuel L. Jackson, I think it was 6'2". But there's some things that they had to do which I was told to never speak of. Okay. So obviously he's 6'2", I'm 6'4.5". So they were like, okay, well, we're just gonna flatten your shoes, and yeah, so yeah.
Okay. I've just got visions of Samuel L. just kind of like walking around.
Oh no. No.
And then, so a lot of people, will be thinking, God, I would love to be a stunt double. So what would people need to do? What tips can you give to people?
Go onto the British Stunt Registry and just register with them. You can register for their mailing list as well. We'll tell you what disciplines you need to undergo in order to become a registered stuntman. Even on their website, they will give you all the information that you need in order to become a stunt person as well. The amount of hours you need to do in front of the cameras before you get registered. I think it's 60 hours in order to become registered. Obviously, you have to have a black belt in martial arts.
Obviously.
Or equivalent. But obviously, over the years, it's all takes time and training. And for someone that's looking to get into it, I'm not going to lie to you, it's very expensive. So if you are going to do it, if you don't have some money saved aside or whatever the case may be to undergo it, then 100% get a side hustle and try and find time to work around it to make it happen. Obviously, you got trampolining, you got high diving, you got riding, driving. You got rock climbing, you got swimming. So you can either be an international athlete in boxing or whatever the case may be. It's up to them to decide if it can be used or not. But you can just contact them and they'll be able to give you all the information that you require. Well,
we could hope that this lockdown stops soon, because you have a whole heap of things there that you need to be training for sure. But what is next for you then, Jahmal?
What's next for me? I got quite a few things in the pipeline, but what I can reveal to you is that at the moment I'm trying out for the NFL, American football in the States. I've not too long came off a camp in Germany where the NFL has paid for me to go on. Well, it's called a combine.
Sorry, can I just stop you there? You're just being so casual. Yes, so yeah, like the NFL, just just yeah. I mean, kill me. That's incredible. How was that called? Was Daley Thompson on the other line and Tessa on the other one?
No, unfortunately, the mistake I made, if I can go back, is whilst I was running for England, I was in New Orleans, and I remember being approached by one of LSU's coaches, asking for me to try out for their football team, and they would give me a full scholarship. And at the time, I was like, nah, I don't want it. I just want to focus on running for England. And obviously, the person I am now, if I knew what I knew then, I 100% would have taken it. However, yeah, I'm grateful now to be able to now take up that opportunity and pursue it as a player. So yeah,
that's amazing. I wish you all the best. And you know, I've known you for a couple of years now, and you're always great at giving advice, and always got time to speak, just like today. And if people want to reach out to you on your socials, what's the best way?
You can find me. My name is Jahmal Germain on every social media platform there is. It's Jahmal Germain, Germain. And if you want any advice on anything, or just want to hear more about my past and my experiences, please feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to help wherever I can. If there's anything I can't help you with, then I will try and do my research and direct you to the right persons.
He will as well, you know. He will.
Appreciate it.
Ex-GB athlete, sports model, Usain Bolt, body double, Samuel L. Jack. The list is endless. Maybe NFL player in the future. Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you.